Let's talk about Floyd Mayweather. I genuinely don't care about sports. I really only get invested when the stakes are really high, like during a championship. But I do love sports conversations because sports are so important to our culture that inevitably, whenever we start talking about these athletes who are often black and brown and the sports that they play, we start talking about our society at large. These discussions become sociological. So there's this thing that happened last Saturday between Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor. And I really don't care about the outcome of that thing or the hundreds of millions of dollars that they got for the thing, but I am interested in how this fight became about reclaiming black dignity broadly, and more specifically about celebrating black masculinity. Conor McGregor got it. He played into that narrative with all of his racist comments. He even referred to an imaginary black penis.
A lot of media seem to be saying I'm against black people. Do they not know I'm half black? I'm half black from the belly button down.
The playing up of the racism really felt calculated by those who stood to make a lot of money. And that makes sense. We know that that cartoonish kind of racism is a very pleasurable spectacle. And of course, we have to note that the history of the boxing ring as a forum for white supremacy is old. In 1910, white Americans had faith that a great white hope would take out Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champ. Writer Jack London wrote at the time, "The white man must be rescued." They called up James Jeffries, who got beat so badly that he quit rather than be knocked out. White folks, of course, were not having it. They were so upset that they responded with violence against black communities. So I really don't blame black folks who still engage boxing with that lens. White supremacy is resilient. But I have questions, because Floyd is a black man. Sure, but he is a misogynistic, abusive, homophobic black man. Still, to a large swath of black people, including progressive black folks, those facts don't detract from his worthiness as an exemplar of, quote, black excellence. Let's interrogate that. When I spoke to a group of black women, it was so interesting to me how, despite the fact that we live in raced and gendered bodies, that in this arena, blackness came first. And it makes me think that we've spent all this time talking about Kimberly Crenshaw's work on intersectionality and the work of so many black feminists who came before. But is it really affecting how we operate in the world? There is still a belief that triumphant blackness requires protecting black masculinity at all costs. And it's important to note that that triumph is about rallying around a hypermasculine, as in he derives his power through money and violence, cisgender, heterosexual black man. The triumph is not about care for all black people. We're certainly not demonstrating care for Floyd's black children who witnessed their mother being beaten, or all of the gay and lesbian black folks who have to hear Floyd's slurs. If we didn't still believe, despite our claims to intersectional thinking and organizing, that protecting the straight cis black man was akin to uplifting the race, then it wouldn't be so easy to prioritize this man's incredible skill over his indiscretions. And look, this for me is not about drawing a hard line. If you're a sentient being, at some point during your day, you are probably supporting an abuser. In fact, I'm not even sure if it's reasonable to expect people to do the work that our supposed justice system does not. I just have questions, because despite the increased visibility of a black feminist politic, we still make the same choices about which bodies matter. Let's go back to intersectionality. Generally, when people talk about it, what they mean is representation. Crenshaw, though, has been clear that it's meant to be about systems, institutions.
A lot of people, particularly those who haven't followed demarginalizing from its initial iteration, often mistakenly think that intersectionality is only about multiple identities. I've got 3, you've got 6, the identity question goes on and on. That's not, at least my articulation of intersectionality. Intersectionality is not primarily about identity. It's about how structures make certain identities the consequence of and the vehicle for vulnerability. So if you want to know how many intersections matter, you've got to look at the context. What's happening? What kind of discrimination is going on? What are the policies? What are the institutional structures that play a role in contributing to the exclusion of some people and not others.
A focus on representation and pleasure means that we never have to challenge ourselves on the systems that make it possible for Black women to be 3 times as likely to die of intimate partner homicide as white women. We'd like to think that our thinking is so much more evolved, that our understandings of these systems are so much more complex, but generally, we're making the same choices we did with OJ and Clarence Thomas. If you live in America, you know that most white folks' conversations about race haven't changed. But I'm just as concerned about the lack of evolution in our intra-racial conversations. This fight between 2 very clearly awful people is another example of that. If you like the video, share, subscribe, or leave a tip. Thanks so much.